This is Jonathan St. James, and you're listening to The Truth is Still Straight podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jonathan St. James, and once again, this is The Truth is Still Straight podcast. Wow, the love. All right, folks, before I start, you know what we do. Give a shout out to my co-hosts who are not here. And those people are Donna Marie, Dawn M. Kane, Donnie St. James, and Jim. All right. And furthermore, I want to give another shout out to Tessie and Sister Millie from the West Coast. Also Beverly with that. Okay, no, just kidding. All right. On a real note, I just want to thank everybody who supports the show. Soltra, Pedro Falcone, Tatiana Cruz, Lee Jones, Tessie, Sister Millie from the West Coast, V, Mr. Wilkes, Mahir, Milton Gonzalez, Beverly, Snotty, Reggie, Courtney, K-Law, RJ, Latoya, and Shilia. Thank you for that support. And who I won't be giving a shout out to is Laurie Harvey or Amber Heard. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Before I go onto this Kevin Samuels reaction, I want to talk about something really, really, really fast for you ladies out there who may be listening, especially you young ladies who may be listening. Be careful who you receive advice from, because I've seen people give advice from a place that they weren't good at, and they were basically telling young women to follow in their footsteps. But here's the problem. If I failed at something, why would I tell the next person to do what I did and fail? So when you hear women like that, especially older women who are in bad situations, you might want to consider that emotional damage is what they really have. And you may want to take their advice with a grain of salt. Because if you don't, one day you'll be sitting in front of someone talking about, I'm fighting for my life. And that's the real. So for you ladies out there that's steering these young ladies in the wrong direction, all I'm going to say to you is, what you talking about, Willis? Exactly. What are you talking about, Willis? So more specifically, we're talking about young women's decisions on choosing relationships, marriage, school, education, things like that. So just to give you an idea what we're discussing. All right, folks. So now we're going to get to the reaction. And that's going to be a Kevin Samuels Live. And the title of that is Paid to Be Women. Sometimes these titles are a little off. Paid to Be Women. And basically he's talking about what does a man have to do to pay a woman to get on his program. So no further ado, let's start that beautiful bean footage. Let's go.
And that's why I look at some of you younger women and I'm like, what do y'all think this is? Who's this working with? And if this is the case, let's negotiate a deal up front. Let me know how much it costs so we can go ahead and get to the sex. Hello. How are you?
Oh my.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I just want to say that I do love your show and I respect it.
How old are you?
I'll be 30 in July, so I'm 29.
So
what?
You heard the starting part. A lot of women today.
Lady, I guess you could relatively look young, but I didn't realize you were 29. Maybe that's Cat, maybe that isn't, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt as Pebbles, you said once.
Almost seem like they want to be paid to be women. What do you think about that?
It's kind of true. It's
Okay.
true. I can admit we might have the wrong mindset overall with relationships.
Okay. Where'd it come from?
Mm-hmm. I'm others.
I guess Disney fairy tales.
Disney, I
Um,
guess.
our parents,
Mm-hmm.
aunts.
Are you single?
I am.
What?
I just said
She is single.
I mean, don't you have a bag?
Exactly. Why? Why are women single? That's a good question. Why are women single? Let's talk about that in a moment.
situation actually, and I don't know if it's something that you talked about on your show before, but I think it's something that would be good for your show.
Okay. With your last situation?
Yes.
Okay, we can get to it, but I don't know any Disney story where a man had to pay for a woman to be a
I
woman.
mean, not exactly pay for her, but the princess and just that type of thing.
Okay. The Disney. No, I don't. I don't. I'm trying to
No?
understand, like, where is it that a princess? But anyway, what's the story you have?
Okay, so I'm just wondering, in your opinion, how do you feel about women who have been in the industry in general? I know you respect the hustle.
What?
Say again.
Your phone's going slow. Women who have been in the industry, like the nightlife.
She
Let me
belongs to the
let me put
streets.
this headphone in because something's going with the audio.
She belongs to the streets.
Answer your question again.
How do you feel about women who have been in the nightlife?
Women.
Oh, hell no.
The women that have been in the nightlife. And that's funny because, a lot of this discussion is talking about Laurie Harvey and Michael B. Jordan. And a lot of people say that Laurie Harvey,
She belongs to the streets.
and I'm inclined to believe that, but she belongs to the expensive street. She don't belong to the Laurie Harvey's definitely not.
This is a certified hood classic.
Definitely not a hood classic, but she definitely is on some streets. So, and, a lot of people say that Michael B. Jordan took an L because he should have realized that she was not serious, but trying to make her serious anyway. And that was his L.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
So let's continue with this.
Working in the nightlife.
Yes, and then finding a real, authentic relationship.
Depends on what you mean by nightlife. You mean
Right.
like dancing or
A
something like
hooker,
that?
Dancing, bartending,
bartending,
being an entrepreneur on top of that.
an entrepreneur.
No.
Nope.
You know what? It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, those are three different things.
They are
Mhm.
Being a dancer,
a stripper.
I don't know many women who walk away psychologically balanced,
Yeah,
looking at
that's
men
true.
in a healthy way from dancing.
Because we expect to be taken
Because it's a
care of, kind of like
game.
the
Well, I
faces.
don't. I mean, it's like being a bartender. You see people at their worst.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, can it happen? Sure. Is it likely? Not really.
And that's true. And, there's a whole discussion about women dealing in probabilities, to which many men claim that women deal in the possibility and not the probability. And like he said, anything is possible, but realistically, it's probably not going to happen. So I think when she's talking about being in the nightlife, I'm supposing that she may have done the stripping. I don't think she was a bartender because bartenders don't usually talk about having problems finding a relationship because they were a bartender. So if I had to take an educated guess, I would say that she was somebody who did some stripping, and now she's looking for a serious relationship at 29, almost 30.
Oh my.
But let's continue.
Not healthy, because where the men that are going there are going for what reason?
To see some
To be
buns.
entertained.
So,
Something that they're not getting at home.
well,
Correct.
whatever it is,
Not necessarily true.
it's kind of hard to undo what you.
Stupid.
If we see you out making money dancing, that's going to always be. It's going to be in a guy's mind. So now bartending, depending upon where you're tending bar, but that's still.
You stupid.
That's not like dancing. But when you say entrepreneur, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
E-commerce business, e-commerce sales.
E-commerce business.
See, the issue I have with all this kind of stuff is it's so hard to understand what it is.
Yep.
A small business online of selling products.
You could be flipping stuff on eBay or Amazon. That's fine.
Having your own. Okay.
Okay, but is it something that you know, as long as it's legal, but is it something you plan on doing for the rest of your life, or is it just something you're doing now?
Are you talking about the e-commerce business?
Yeah.
No,
Because we talked
the
about
C-commerce.
dancing, we talked about bartending and stripping. Those are hustles.
Miss Patience?
Yeah. So, I mean, she seems to be getting along well with him because I think she's a fan, but she's a little secretive about what she's trying to say. So I have an issue with her honesty. She doesn't seem to be comfortably forthcoming with information.
She is joking, but she's from the Bronx, so is she?
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Short-term hustles. But selling something online, you know, even if you just drop shipping or whatever, but are we talking about building a real business, or are we talking about a hustle?
No, building a real business, having a private label, you know, having actual products, not just drop shipping.
Okay. Well,
and being a small business, but I think you said before, if your business cannot benefit the man, it's not as important. I mean, those weren't your exact words, but you get what
it also depends on what you're doing. I mean, if a man wants a wife and kids, what comes first? How can what would something, if you can't do it all, what gives?
What gives is
you got a husband, if you're married and you got kids, how you gonna do all that in the business?
You're right. It'll be hard to juggle, but it happens.
Not usually.
Does it?
Not usually.
So. I've seen successful women entrepreneurs.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Not usually. You know, we talk about the single motherhood in the country and in Western nations, and it's a pretty high phenomenon, not in a good way. So she's definitely not being honest. And the lady she's talking about, well, you know, they're gonna.
That's not no dog. That's family.
Exactly. But different story when they end up.
That's why you would buy a dog and die alone.
Mm-hmm. Ladies with them dog boyfriends, you know what I'm talking about. I won't name names, but some of you ladies out there have replaced the notion of having a boyfriend with having a dog.
But
Black women?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've seen a lot of successful women, Black entrepreneurs, but majority of the time they are single.
Exactly.
What do you get from that knowledge right there?
It's hard to balance.
There is no balance. There is no balance.
Okay.
Because when you get an entrepreneur, you're generally getting boss bitch energy.
Facts.
But what if you don't give off that energy?
At some point, you give it off.
A blind squirrel will find a nut. Somebody got to win the lotto, but I don't deal in what ifs. I deal in what
Probabilities.
is.
Probabilities, not possibilities.
Do you want to be the provider, or do you want your husband to be the provider?
I would want my husband to be the provider.
Oh no.
I don't want to pay significant bills.
Okay, so again, it's one thing to have to take care of yourself.
Oh,
it's another thing to still be trying to be a mother, a wife, and a business owner. You cannot have it all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got to give something up.
That's facts.
Okay.
You either give up the husband. Generally, to give up the husband is what you give up.
Yep.
As a Black woman, that's
Yeah,
normally what we give
yeah,
up. Okay.
because that's what you choose.
So if as a Black woman, that's not something that I would want to give up, do you suggest that I just stop my business and just search for that
Well, now
provider male,
that's a
the
different question.
husband?
That's a different question. All right.
Mm-hmm. Different question for sure.
Why? Before I answer that, why can non-Black women seem to balance being wives and running businesses like you're talking about, and being mothers, and not have to give up one or the other?
I think maybe so. More white and non-Black women were brought up to be that way.
That's true.
Let's
I
just
agree.
go. If we go with that,
But I agree with that.
how do you change that energy? Because
Yeah. So
here's the thing.
let's stop that. So I agree with what she's saying. And the problem with that is society has definitely created this rift between men and women, especially in our communities, where they telling women, oh, don't worry about settling down, get your bag, go to college, get the career, and then a man will be waiting for you on the other end, which doesn't happen quite often. Not saying it never happens, but it doesn't happen quite often. And because it doesn't happen, there's a problem later on when you grow older and life hasn't grown with you in a good way. And then you kind of meet guys and they roll up on you and be like,
I'm the mayor of Debonair, and I'm about to be player extraordinaire.
so you meet those kind of guys. And then that doesn't usually end well. So that's the thing. You know, a lot of women, they sort of squander their youth and beauty away for this bag that they're chasing to be this boss bee and all that. But that doesn't bode well for having a family, having a future, and things like that. So let's continue.
Before I don't want to get too far down that path because that'll take us off target. Okay, are you a wife? Is the question. See, a lot of a lot of women ask about.
Like she was on
later on, but the big question is: do you want to be a part of your husband's team, or do you want a partner?
I want to be part of my husband's team.
All right.
I feel like I'm a better asset by being a team player than me being the lead myself.
All right. How old do you say you are again?
29.
All right.
I smell
have
cat.
you always wanted to be married?
No.
No.
When did this happen?
2 minutes before he called you. Yeah,
and
see?
that's the problem.
Close,
This is the problem because so many of our women start to recognize later in life, close around 30, that this isn't the real play. So it's not as though the men are looking for anything different. It's like you have to be what those guys are looking for.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to have a job right now because you got to be able to take care of yourself. And most women want to be able to have a man who can provide, but men who can provide come with rules.
That's right.
And a lot of men who provide step outside of the marriage as well.
So?
And that's okay, right? I'm just asking.
I'm asking you, can you handle it? Here's a question. Can you handle it if they do?
Yes.
She said that.
There's a reason. I know a lot of women don't like that, but a lot of women today want it all. I'm like, the cleanup Betty Wright, the cleanup woman, I mean, grandmama, granddaddy. I don't know. I feel a empathy from women today because you've been told you could have it all and you can't.
That's fact.
And it's about choices and trade-offs. What is more important? Do you want a man who doesn't step out? Because I'm not saying every guy will, but I'm saying if he does and you don't find out about it, what difference does it make?
It doesn't make a difference.
So I go look for the problem. That's my point.
But being in the nightlife a little bit, I think you're more open-minded to those type of things because you see more. So I think my mindset might be different from the average.
What kind of man you're looking for? That's what I need to know, because I can tell that your man is
We're not rich. We're ordinary African students.
So you say you want a guy to take care of you, but you're not moving and operating in that way. So
Can you count, suckers?
can you count? Is time on your side? It probably isn't. But I digress. Let's continue.
No, woman.
Average what woman?
Average.
I think a lot of black
Modern.
women want.
I'm gonna say modern.
I think a lot of sisters want. I think a lot of sisters have a fantasy view of marriage because I don't.
Yes.
You want alpha male providers, alpha male looks, alpha male height, all this alpha. Then you want strict loyalty and monogamy, and like that doesn't exist.
That's
Right
right.
in mass. So
I agree.
it's about choices and trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And at 30 years old, I would say, do you want children?
Nope.
I have one child.
Oh.
How old?
She's 5.
You gotta be able to
I am
answer that
living
question
for the
too.
Lord. I am living
'Cause
for
guys
the
are always gonna
Lord.
ask,
Hallelujah.
child's
I feel him down in my spirit.
And women don't like when I say that you don't typically get higher than your baby daddy.
Okay.
She didn't want to hear that.
And what would that put? Would that put you in? Is your ex a provider male?
I wouldn't say so. Not right now at this moment.
What you talking about, Will?
But he has been a provider male.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men look
So
at
there's nothing wrong with him. He's a great guy. He's a great father. But people go through trials and tribulations. I'm gonna say that.
Of course.
So,
I mean, life happens to everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's getting back up, and that's what's going on. But me personally, we just grew apart.
Why?
But I know for you feel like marriage is not all about love.
Yeah, and that's the conception. And that's why I'm like, you have to be careful with this love business. The problem with talking about love is so subjective and can be temperamental. And if you believe in love or you believe in the notion of love, that can't be the reason to make or break a relationship. You have to go beyond feelings because love is a feeling that you have. And when people feel a certain kind of way, they do certain kind of things. Perfect example, they leave relatively stable relationships because they wanted something else. And later they find out those things are not serving a better purpose. And then you need to be told.
The better question is, why can't you get a guy on your level?
Exactly. Getting a guy on your level. But let's continue. I'm about to wrap this up.
I know that as well.
Well, it's not.
It's not. So
it's not. I mean, we can say that shit when people live to be 40 years old. Okay, let's just take. Do you think it's about love?
No.
Did you used to?
I did.
Yes.
All right. What if we lived to be 300?
I did. I used to think it was a fairy tale.
Well,
facts.
So, is it just over between you and your child's father?
Yes.
Forever? Irreconcilable?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
We're great friends. We get along. We're
I get it, but you got to look at the men who will come next. Russell Wilson and Sierra are in the news again. Why do they stay in the news so much?
That's a good question.
Because Russell Wilson is completely opposite of Sierra's previous child's father.
They stay in the news so much for that because so many men look and say, why did a guy who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback go choose to become a baby daddy? I mean, a stepfather. And you wouldn't see Tom Brady doing that.
That's true.
And far too many guys today, especially black men, are starting to say we're not stepping up to be stepdaddies. But it's not. Especially the kind of men especially the men who are in the top 20%, who can call some shots. So what does that leave women?
That's a good point.
What does that leave a lot of women? If you're
Alone,
looking strictly for husbands.
Yeah.
If men who are in the marrying category aren't looking to be stepfathers, what does that mean?
That means she's in trouble.
I didn't hear the last part because my phone.
If men who are in the husband category are not looking to be
The better question is, why
stepfathers,
can't you
what
get a
does
guy
that
on your
leave
level?
women with children who want to be married?
Single or sidelines.
Yeah,
And that's an unfortunate reality.
that's fact.
That's gonna prohibit you more than anything else, the kid. And I'm not supposed to say it, but it's the truth.
Well,
Especially when you start talking about a man who can make some choices.
so I'm gonna say I'm gonna talk about that because there's some validity to what he's saying about that. Having a kid does cause some difficulties in attaining a wonderful relationship, and it's not impossible. But if you're looking for that specific type, it's going to be a lot harder, and that's really what the real issue is when you talk about that. Yeah, this you can want things, but it doesn't mean the person you want wants those very things. And if he doesn't, if he's not on your program, which a lot of times those type of men that she's talking about are not. So, it is what it is.
So, ladies, I don't know. And why we're on this is because you ladies women in general have been told the opposite. And that's where all this confusion is coming in.
That's true.
Y'all aren't getting the result.
That's true.
So I'll ask you a question before you run. If you're not getting back to the child's father, how do you think you could make your asset how do you think you can make your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry?
Kick him out the house.
How can I make my child an asset?
Kick your kid out the house. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general.
What?
Put her in classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not, put in that time to make her a better person. Correct?
No.
I'm asking because I'm asking.
Am I right?
The question is how to make your child an asset to that man. That makes her an okay person. But how can your doubt? And this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
That's true.
I never thought about that.
Well, and that's the problem.
What would you suggest? I'm just wondering because
I like that she's asking.
I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one, is she well-mannered, well-behaved, smart, taken care of? Does she understand? And do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband?
Right.
Is my husband going to come first? Or is we're a package deal? If you're a package deal, that's no deal.
Right.
I'll be honest, it's a package deal, that's no deal because let's say you and I were to get married, you got a daughter, right? And let's say we have 2 kids together. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship would have to end.
Yeah.
That's not something the relationship would end immediately.
That's his point.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower.
Right. And you didn't verify to see if it's true or not.
That person need to be
that
close
is
to
so
that
true.
to see her. That would be the thing. You have to defend your seed. You have to defend your child.
But you also remember you got 2 of my kids. So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you because off the rip, your desire to defend your child blew up. You got 2 of my kids, and off rip, your protective instinct says fuck everything, including those other 2 kids.
That's facts.
Understood.
Do you?
No,
you said the relationship would have to end. So what would you tell our 2 children?
That's interesting.
That's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end. So
it would have to end because
but what would you tell
any of my kids? If I have 3 kids, 1 by someone else and 2 by my
But what I'm telling you,
so there goes that aggression. You see, well, a lot of these ladies call them pick-meshas, as they say under the PEEF network, and their default feels very peaceful. But as you can see, she became very argumentative towards the end of this conversation. So I'm gonna play this last bit of video and then turn it over to the braces.
Our 2 children.
Your half sister stated this happened and this is not a comfortable situation and we have to part ways.
Yeah.
You get the fuck out. You can get the fuck out.
Because I'm not the one paying the bills.
No, you know, because you're not taking my kids. See, that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
Right.
It's not power. I'm really
First of all, you didn't even. First off, you didn't even. I just said if she said it, you didn't even question whether or not the claim was there.
Yep, that's true.
Because that's your child. That's why I'm saying your child can never be an asset to anybody. Because that's the bomb that's always there.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
he's dropping
what the
truth
fuck?
bombs.
What could a man do about that? I could provide everything. We could have children, and automatically you're gonna jump off rip, go for your child. Your child. So don't ask me to treat your child like it's biologically mine when you be willing to blow up my biological children's shit for something else. And you know kids can say anything.
They can.
That's
but
true.
You have to protect your kids at all costs.
Then
and you have to talk.
Then no.
Yeah, she's conflicting herself there. She's saying you got to protect your kids, but you can't protect it at the cost of truth and getting to the bottom of things. You cannot do that for your kids. All right, well, I think I'm gonna just end it there because it doesn't seem to really be going any other place other than right there. So we can leave it at that place. And then we can go over to the looking for the braces. I don't know where the braces are. Let's see. Okay, here we go. It's time for the braces. Relationship braces. Bringing hearts together, one heart at a time. 29-year-old lady with a kid. How can we get you to the right place at the right time so you could designate that love that will last a long time? I tried to rhyme that. It is what it is, but here's the braces. The lady doesn't have a whole lot of issues that she really needs to address. They're basically all solved. She just needs to put them into perspective. And I want to say, ladies, the older you get, love is not impossible to attain. A lot of people attain it every day. Every day someone's finding love. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. In the end, in order for you to find someone, you need to engage them and give them the ability to like you by having yourself socially available to the opposite sex. So those are the braces. All right, folks. So thank you for watching, listening, whatever you were doing. Once again, this is Jonathan St. James, and this is the Truth is Still Straight podcast. And I am out.